It's necessary to know that everybody wants you. That everybody wants to join you. That everybody wants affirmation. It's necessary to know that you are uncommon free. You know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I'm going to see it for myself.
If you want the best, okay, that you want to reach the okay, obsessed with greatness in anything. Greatness. People will tell you obsession is a bad thing.
It's possible for you to live your dream. It's necessary that you associate with winners, that you work your system, that you are relentless, that you never give up. It's you. You've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. Sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream.
Somewhere along the line, the change. Stop being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you don't do it. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Until you start believing this.
In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. After what you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't gonna never.
It's past possible. Even that, all you gotta do is start. Because if it's past possible, as soon as we start, you know you're gonna set records. You know you're gonna take it to the next level. You know you're gonna do what's never been done before. If you're willing to do a little bit more than that, if you're willing to stay just a little longer, sacrifice just a little bit more.
The journey is not easy. Before you start that journey mentally, you must fuel yourself with the right reasons, the right fuel, stay in the entire journey.
We all have the ability to do anything.
To have it. You can drive it. You can win it. You can fly it. You can have it. It's possible, baby. It's nothing. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in your dream. You gotta believe one day it's gonna be your moment. One day you gonna own the moment. Listen to me. Impossible is just a big word.
Question is impossible. The greatest achievement of man was made by question. The right word. Question what people call us.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. If you can hear me, please type in yes. Good morning. Hello, good morning. If you can hear me, please type in yes. Okay. I would expect more yes from others, please. If you can hear me, please type in yes. Good morning. Welcome to a beautiful trading week. If you can hear me, please type in yes. If you can hear me, please type in yes. Okay. Okay, good morning. You're welcome to Plan Your Trade Your Plan Currency Review with Great White. Before we start, as usual, I would like you all to go through this disclaimer so that you get acquainted with what you're about to get into. So, after that, we go into our fundamental news release for this coming week. And as you can see, Monday and Tuesday has a lot of red flags. Like for today, we have USD core retail sales at 130. The two of them are coming up by 130. But we need to pay attention to tomorrow's news. It has a lot of GDP news, most especially this Parliament Brexit vote. Most often, those that are holding, most often what I've seen from experience is that preview to such news releases, that currency might start losing strength. Sometimes it does happen, but not always. Because they're expecting a vote reject. But a vote reject in the cost sense might not be really bad for the pound. I can't go into details now, and I'll suggest you look up for it. But I would not advise trading it. One, the pound is very, very volatile. It's a very volatile pair. So it would not be a good idea to be in the market at that time. So having said that, the next thing we'll go into is we'll go into the currency pairs. As always, the first pair we'll be starting with is the dollar index. And looking at the dollar index from a week daily point of view, it still has a bullish bias. As you can see, this triangle, this candle broke above this falling trend line, which might possibly mean that price may come down to retest it before moving higher. So knowing that, we go down into our intraday chart. Go down to our 4-hour chart to see how it will play out. So looking at our 4-hour chart, we have this is a resistance zone, and this is our support area here. So should price is just our area to look out for. And you should bear in mind that the dollar index has an inverse correlation to the Euro USD. So should the dollar index start to drop, it will cause the Euro USD to rally in price. So we may see a drop to this side, to this 97.20, and should 97.20 hold as support, you may see a rally back up, because we might see a retest of this high maybe today or within this week. And if this high holds as resistance, then we may see price drop a bit further. The next pair we'll be looking at is gold. As you can see, gold, if you look at it from a daily point of view, gold closed Friday with a very, very, very strong bullish engulfing candle. Very, very strong. And as you can see, it's in a downtrend. But now, as you can see, it broke this trend line, creating a lower low. As you can see, this low is lower than this low, which shows you that this previous trend has been broken. But you might see a bit of a correction to create either a lower high, as the case may be. So you might see a correction further up on gold. As you can see, you can use your fib from this high on the daily. That's a high at 1346 to 1280.86 to place your fib, and to look out for a rejection or a bullish evidence between 1306 to 1321 area. But for now, gold has a bullish bias. It will not do you good to try. Somebody is saying my screen is still showing Forex Factory. Is my screen showing Trading View now? Please, can I get responses from people? Is my screen still frozen? Hello, are you seeing my chat? Please, can I get response from people? Are you seeing my Trading View chat? If you're seeing my Trading View chat, type in yes. If you're seeing my Trading View chat, please type in yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The person saying it is showing, it's still showing Forex Factory. You may need to log out and re-sign in again. Thank you. So for now, gold might be correcting a bit. So we go down to our 4-hour chart, go down to our intraday chart, which is the 4-hour chart. So this is what we have on gold. If you notice, the 38.2 comes in at this area, and that is at 1306. If you notice, it lines up with this previous support that might act as resistance should gold get there. Then the next level is the 50%. And if you notice, the 61.8 lines up with this area here. So these are possible areas where you may need to wait for gold. And as you can see, there's something here. So what you might just see interim is a bit of a correction, maybe to test this high and then a move higher. Friday's candle closed as a bullish engulfing. So you might see either 1 or 2 more days of rally, corrective rally on gold before the downtrend continuation. I can't see, but from what we see on Friday, we might see a move higher into this zone here. That's into 1306 to 1321 area. Then if you see the right kind of bearish evidence there, you may take a short trade. But that does not mean you cannot take a long position. If you're taking a long position, you need to be very cautious as the prevailing trend is down. So you might just see a retest of this trend line and the continuation down. The next pair we'll be looking at is, let me see. Let me put, okay, this is my intraday chart, yes. On my intraday chart, this is the levels I have. I have a resistance zone between 1302 to 1305. I have this falling trend line. Above this trend line, and price may move higher. So you have the first support here. First support comes in at 1296. The second support comes in at 1289. As long as price is above these two support areas, it has the potential to still move higher. But below this last support, and price may drop further down. The next part we'll be looking at is the USD CAD and USD CHF. I will look at the USD CHF to see the close from the daily point of view and the weekly point of view. Okay, if we look at the USD CAD on Friday, it closed with a sort of do I call this harami or dark cloud pattern? But this is a bearish pattern. And if you look at it, it's rejecting from this upper trend line. The trend line is coming from, just a minute, let my chart boot up. Trend line is coming from this high to this high. Price got there, got rejected, as you can see. So knowing that, we go down to our intraday chart and plot our game plan for today. As we can see, this is price is sitting above what might be a minor resistance / support. So we may see a rally up to either 1.0101 to this point, And if you see the right, if you get the bearish evidence here, you can take a short position, or price may try to retest the trend line, as the case may be. So this is just the likely game plan. These are points where you look out to take your trades from areas of high advantage. The next pair we'll be looking at is the Euro USD. Look at the Euro USD from the weekly point of view. Looking at the Euro USD from daily point of view, we have a lot of, I can say we have a lot of coincidence there. If you look at it, price closed bearish on the weekly. But where did it close bearish? It closed bearish above the 61.8 of 1.0345 to 1.2555 at 1.1189. What does this mean? It means that it is at a support area, a very, very high important area. And there is a trend line connecting this point to this point. As you can see, price did not close below that trend line on the weekly. Then if you go to the daily point of view, we have a descending, excuse me, we have a descending triangle, a descending trend line here, support trend line. As you can see, price hit it and moved up, and still above that weekly support trend line. So knowing this, if the dollar index should start to correct higher, then you may see a correction down on the Euro USD. As you can see, we go down to our intraday chart. You might see a potential for a drop. This is what you might see. If this place holds as a resistance, you might see a drop and a move higher on the Euro USD. You might see a drop and a move higher on the Euro USD. That is the plausible game plan on this pair. That is, should this resistance hold. This resistance is at 1.1252. 1.1252 area. So should it hold as resistance upon a retest, then you might see price drop a bit to either 1215 or somewhere down here. That's this psychological level of 1.120. That's 1.1200 before moving higher, as the case may be. So the next pair we'll be looking at is the GBP USD. Looking at the GBP USD, we'll first start from the weekly point of view. If you look at it from the weekly point of view, we have a very big bearish engulfing candle for GBP USD on the weekly. And most often, when you have this kind of a weekly bearish engulfing candle, you might see a bit of a pullback into the body of the candle, into the body of that weekly candle. And if you look at it again, it's at a trend line. Let me get this trend line well connected. You can see this trend line from this low to this point as where price is at the moment. And the one other thing of importance is that this weekly trend line was broken to the upside, and upon the test didn't hold as support. Price fell right through. So that gives more confidence, more added bearish bias to this GBP USD for now. So knowing that, how do we play this pair out? You drop down to your intraday chart. As you can see, price is already reacting from our support point. As you can see, price is already reacting from it. So there is a potential that price may rally to either of these levels here. That is 1.3057, 1.3087, or 1.3118. Should price rally into this area and give you a bearish evidence, then you may take a short position down. And it seems as if price might be moving up from this support area. Doesn't mean you can't take a long position, but if you should take a long position, you need to be a bit careful about it, as the prevailing trend for now is on the downside. So you need to be careful about that. The next one we'll be looking at is the Euro GBP. And if you look at the Euro GBP, we start from the weekly point of view. We look at the Euro GBP from the weekly point of view. Look at the Euro GBP from the weekly point of view. And if you look at the Euro GBP from the weekly point of view, it found support of the weekly 200 moving average, as you can see here. And it is moving right back into this range that it broke out of. This might be a retest, and this might be a false break. This might be a retest, or this might be a false break, but we can't say. But if you look at the candle close for last week, it was a long week. A long week, which shows you buying pressure from this area, which may continue into this week. So, knowing that, we drop down to our daily chart. And one thing, if you look at this daily chart, you would notice there is a double bottom here. It is evident on your line chart. Can you see it? 1, 2, 3. That invariably tells you that the Euro GBP is planning to move high to the upside. And if you look at the close for Friday, it is a very big bullish engulfing candle. It engulfed this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're looking at almost 5 days of activity covered by just one candle. So knowing that, how do we play this out on our intraday chart? We drop down to our 4-hour chart. And if you drop down to our 4-hour chart, let me get rid of this fib. As you can see, price rallied into this resistance zone and it's on its way back down. You might get a correction. Most likely, the correction might come down to 0.8607. And if the buyers come in there, then that means they will continue the up move that they've started. I mentioned this on Friday that there was a level at which the Euro GBP, if it closes above, then that means the downtrend was a false move. As you can see, this low here, when price came down, was not taken out. That points to further continuation of the up move. So here you'll be looking for bullish evidence to continue to the upside. The next one I'll be looking at is the AUD USD. And if you look at the AUD USD, we go from the weekly point of view. We need to look at it from a weekly point of view. The weekly candle for last week closed bearish, as you can see, but it is at a level of significance here. So knowing that, how do we play this intraday? We drop down to our 4-hour chart. As you can see, like I pointed out yesterday, just like I pointed out, as at the time I did this chart, this has not happened yesterday. I said it has a potential to drop to this support, and it just did that and took off immediately. As you can just see, it's already playing out. You need to know where most of your levels are, because if you don't know this, you would have fallen into the trap of this pair being a reversal candle pattern. If you didn't see this, you would have said this is a bearish reversal pattern. This is an evening star. And you would have opened a sell position or be waiting for 50%, and this would have happened. They just came down towards this support and took off immediately. So now the question is, a break above this resistance at 0.7053 and this trend line will continue to move to the upside. And as you can see, price has done an inverse head and shoulders, left, head, and right. This was what I was expecting them to do yesterday. So there is a potential for them to move to the upside. So yes, Christiana, it's an inverted head or inverse head and shoulders. That's how we call it, inverted or inverse head and shoulders. So that's what has already played out here. As you can see, this was what I pointed out yesterday. Let me see if I can pull up the chart for this pair. Let me see if I can pull up the chart yesterday. Let me see, is this it? No, this is not it. No, this is not it. This is it. I'll put it down here. Let me see. No, I don't think I posted that chart yesterday. I do not think I posted it. Well, let me see. No, I didn't. I didn't post the chart yesterday. But this happened before this happened. So there's a potential that it might range between this high and this low, but it is tilting more to the upside. As long as this support here at 70.25 is not broken, there's a potential that price might still move higher. So the next pair we'll be looking at is the USD JPY. And looking at the USD JPY from a weekly point of view, it seems to have a bearish reversal pattern. This looks like a dark cloud. But this is a storyline. It found support of the 50 moving average of the 200 of the daily. This is the 200 moving average. Found support here. But this is a storyline. This still is looking bearish. Why? Price broke above this trend line here and fell close below it. So this might be a pullback into Friday's price activity before the continuation down. So knowing that, how do we play that on intraday? This is what we do. There is a trend line here, as you can see. From this point, there are two trend lines. This is the secondary one. Price is still sitting above it. So for now, price is heading into a resistance area. That is between 11119 to 11137. It may move higher. It may try to move higher towards this trend line, this 4-hour trend line here. It may try to move higher here, but you should be aware that it is running to this resistance. That's 11137. So you might wait for it here or at this point to engage a short position. No, when I mean intraday, you can trade this off the 15 minutes. My entries are on the 15 minutes. All I need to know is where my levels are. Then I can wait for it on any time frame. You can trade it on the 15 minutes, you can trade it on the 1 hour, but I will not suggest anything lower than the 15 minutes to be on the safe side. All you just need to do is go to those time frames and look for the pattern, the price action pattern you're looking for. So I use the 4 hours because that is a chart sometimes I'm okay with when I'm doing my analysis and review. The next one we'll be looking at is the Euro GBP, the Euro Yen. And looking at the Euro Yen from a daily point of view, from a weekly point of view, let me get rid of all this. Well, let me note, it has the role to play. Let me hide most of my drawing tools. Okay, so now, this is the game plan. This is a bearish engulfing. And if you notice, there is a range here. There is a range here. Price broke above that range. When it came down to retest, the top of that range comes in at 125.96. It fell back inside that range. So what you might be seeing now might be might be a retest of last week's move, or correction into last week's move. So when we go to the daily point of view, we look at it from a daily point of view. When we look at it from a daily point of view, we can see that price is sitting above the 38.2 of 11.8.82 to 127.50. So this is the game plan. This pair is bearish for now. You'll be looking for resistance area to sell it from. So knowing that, I go down to my intraday chart with my levels and try to plot out plausible areas. For now, it seems to be correcting to the upside. So my first level of resistance comes in at 125.39. My second level comes in at 125.90. I have this falling trend line. As long as price stays below this falling trend line, the bearish bias is still intact for now. But a move above this falling trend line will shift the bias, will shift the bias to the upside. Because for now, it seems to be correcting to the upside. It has a double bottom here, as you can see. If I switch over to the line chart, you can see it. It has a double bottom and it is moving back to the upside to retest either this level here or a bit higher, as the case may be. So that's it for the Euro Yen. The next one we're looking at is the GBP JPY. The next one we're looking at is the GBP JPY. And looking at the GBP JPY, we look at it from a weekly point of view. As you can see, you have a bearish engulfing pattern on GBP JPY weekly. And I have the weekly 50 moving average at, let me see now, at 144.89, and price is gradually coming towards that level. So, knowing that, we drop down to our intraday chart. I pull back my levels, drop down to my 4-hour. So, as you can see, the first support is holding for now. Price is bouncing off that level into this resistance between 144.78 to 145. Above this resistance zone, that's, should price do this? Should price break above this resistance zone? Should price break above this resistance zone and retest it and it serves as support, then we may see price move higher. But should it get rejected at this level, then it may drop down to retest this trend line. So that is the plausible game plan for the GBP JPY for today. Next pair we'll be looking at is the GBP CHF. The next pair we'll be looking at is the GBP JPY. The same pattern, it has a bearish pattern on the daily, but it is sitting above this trend line. You see this trend line? 1, 2, 3. It broke above it, so this might be a retest of this trend line to move higher. So knowing that, we go down into our intraday chart. We go down into our intraday chart on the GBP CHF. You can see it found support here and found support. You can see the retest of this trend line and it is moving higher. There's a trend line here from this point to this point that it broke through. So we may see a retest of either this trend line or this one before a resumption of the downtrend. Or better still, you can place a fib from this high to this low and watch for price action. You wait to see how price plays out here. So the areas you'll be looking at to take your short position based if you find evidence will be 1.3150 to 1.3203. That is between the 38.2 and the 61.8 area. That is for the GBP CHF. The next one we'll be looking at is the Euro AUD. The Euro AUD seems to be finding support of the 200 moving average on the 4-hour. And if you look at him from a daily point of view, you need to see how he closed on the daily to be able to take a decision. The daily closed as a long upper week, but it didn't go below this support at 1.5939. So that level is still holding as a support area, although it has a bearish reversal candle as you can see here on the daily. So knowing that, how do you play out this pair on your intraday trading? So your first support comes in at 1.5939. Your first resistance comes in at 1.6015. For now, it is sitting above a support that is holding. And from here, it may extend higher. Should the support break, then you may see price drop below. So I might be stopping price my analysis here for now. I seem to be having a bit of internet challenges. I have uploaded the chart and I'll upload the video to the YouTube for those of you who could for review again. And if you have any questions, this is my Telegram handle. You can send me a direct message here and I'll be happy to respond to it. I wish you all a beautiful trading day and a prosperous week ahead. Thank you all for coming.